Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will analyze the outcomes of the G7 summit which took place in UK and concluded yesterday. The group of 7 richest democracies called G7 grouping has openly declared intentions to counter China on various fronts. The grouping decided to counter China over its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative or BRI and over China's violation of human rights, and also called for detailed investigation into the origins of coronavirus pandemic. In the agenda today, we will analyze these outcomes of the G7 summit which concluded in the UK yesterday. We have with us retired diplomat Ambassador Sudhir Devre and retired Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh. But before we start our conversation, have a look at this small report.
For the first time, the G7 grouping of 7 most developed democratic countries have openly come out with a vision to take on China and its growing military and economic assertiveness globally. After holding discussions in England for 2 days, leaders of US, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy and Japan decided to counter China on its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative or BRI. Multi-trillion-dollar BRI was started by China in 2013 and more than 100 countries have signed up for the mammoth program, which entails building of an infrastructure network including rails, roads, highways, ports across the world. To counter China, the G7 countries decided to offer developing nations an infrastructure plan, Build Back Better World or B3W initiative, which could serve as an alternative to the BRI. The B3W initiative will provide a transparent infrastructure partnership to help narrow the $40 trillion needed by developing nations by 2035, the US said. The US said there was a G7 consensus on the need for a shared approach to China on trade and human rights. The G7 grouping also pushed for detailed investigation to trace the origin of COVID-19 virus. Many believe that the pandemic which devastated the world was not natural but man-made and that it originated in a lab in Wuhan in China. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests Ambassador Devre and General Gurmeet Singh. Welcome to the program, both of you. So I'll first go to Ambassador Devre about the outcomes of G7 summit. Now apparently the West has decided to take on China openly. So is the West worried about China's rise? What do you say?
I believe G7 had 3 main points before them, 3 C's one can call. One was COVID corona, another was climate change, and third was China.
Right.
And as if last year, nothing was actually said at G7, President Trump was not keen on having G7. This year, the new administration of President Biden really took on China and other countries, other issues which are for G7. And this group of rich democracies, I think, were so blunt in their comments that they came out with a joint communique, I think very hard-hitting on a number of issues, particularly directing either directly or indirectly China. The discussion on open society statement in which Prime Minister Modi was invited to speak, or the climate change, or the issue of corona.
Right.
I think on all these issues, particularly the corona issue, I think China was not spared at all.
President Biden repeated his, his proposal or his demand rather that there should be thorough investigation into the origin of COVID, and that is going on. And this time, even because of his push, even the WHO Director General Tedros, he said yes, China has to cooperate in this whole issue. I think another major decision that was taken at this was what they call as the B3W, that is Build Back Better for the world. And this is in relation to or in response to the BRI initiative of China, because the G7, the rich countries, felt that they did not have anything comparable to BRI and they were getting lost in the race. Also, they saw a lot of opportunities in B3W infrastructure investment and so on. So that was a new proposal which they came up with. And the criticism of China's human rights record in Xinjiang, the Uyghurs, as well as China's policies in Hong Kong, they came in for sharp criticism. All in all, I think the G7 summit, I think called for greater openness, transparency, greater emphasis on democracy. And I think in a way, India's participation, which has been going on for the last few years, reinforces the belief that these G7 democracies have in India's democratic credentials and its record as an open and free society.
So, Ambassador Deore, going by the outcomes as you just mentioned, so do you think another Cold War or polarization is shaping up?
Polarization is already there. As we see...
No, as of now, there is a unipolar world. We know only US is the power and then there are rest of the world. Now, China is an emerging power. Yeah.
No, I think that unipolar world more or less ended or got a severe jolt in 2007, 2008, when the Lehman crisis took place in the America. The whole world was
the recession.
Economic crisis.
Yeah.
From 1991, when the Soviet Union got dissolved, till 2007, for nearly 17, 18 years, one can say there was unipolar world. But I think after that, there have been a number of powers which are also showing themselves, particularly China. And therefore, I think to say that it is a unipolar world will be perhaps a little bit of exaggeration, though there is no denying the fact that the US continues to be the preeminent power. But there are opponents to that, particularly China.
Right. So, General Gurmeet Singh, I come to you. When we talk about polarization, and military power is very important part of that. So, and of course, economic power is important. But how do you see China when it shapes up, or its aggressiveness, or is growing militarily also? Of course, economically it is very strong and it has spread all over the world. But militarily it has become very aggressive and assertive. So how do you think that G7 can counter that?
Absolutely, Ajay, I totally agree with you. Actually, the world has recently seen the assertiveness, belligerence, and opening all fronts by the China. If you critically look at the G7 summit which has taken place, it was anchored on 4 points. First point was regarding coronavirus or COVID and the vaccine. Second was on the China's threat and the challenges. And third was the economy recovery, which has happened because of COVID. And fourth point, although not related to China per se, was regarding climate and environment. But if you look at the contents of what they have discussed, then you come to know that this was all about recovery because after post-COVID, and it is about the resets which they want to have. And this reset is mainly anchored on threats and the challenges which China is posing, as you said. And focusedly on China, they said they talked about the forced labor, human right abuses in Xinjiang, They also talked, they were critical about three aspects, that is Hong Kong, Taiwan and Xinjiang, and they showed the serious concern about East China Sea and South China Sea. So if you summarize what they were talking about, this was all about China's threat and the problem which China has created to the world because of Corona. I think that was the summation of the entire thing. And in this, the decisions which have been taken, firstly was what should be the alternative to the BRI, Belt Road and Initiative. So they came out with a B3, that is the Build Back Better World, trying to pull in 40 trillion plus, catering for infrastructure in the developing nations. They also said it will be value-based and it will be of high standard. So basically they're trying to give an alternative to the BRI. Secondly, if you look at the second important statement which is there, is regarding the Garbage Bay Declaration. This is saying that for the future pandemic, the world should be ready to combat it within 100 days. They have also talked about creating a new center in which they want to do development of vaccine, treatment and diagnostics as related to the pandemic in the coming time. And one thing is definite, that this meeting which has happened in the background of the challenges which have been imposed, by China.
So what are the challenges China is imposing to the world?
I think very beautifully our Prime Minister has said that India is a natural ally to G7. Actually, if you look at the composition also, it's very interesting. It is G7 plus 2 members of Quad. That is, Australia, India was invited, apart from South Korea and South Africa. So you can see how you find the content of Quad plus G7. And when you look at the Quad, it is primarily regarding Indo-Pacific region challenges. So it is very clear. In fact, I would say this is the first time that the G7 has so focusedly talked about the challenges of Taiwan, Hong Kong, Xinjiang. They talked about East China Sea, South China Sea. And our Prime Minister very categorically, he said, we have shared values against the threat which has been posed in the current dynamic. He talked about the extremism. He talked about the disinformation. He's talked about the economic coercion. In fact, you know, when they have gone in for alternative to BRI, aim is that the China has posed a challenge to the entire world, wherein the BRI is also connected with the debt trap. It is connected to economic colonization. It is connected to the economic coercion. And it is also connected to expansionism. So if you look at the entire thing, it is focused on China, but you know, since it's a diplomatic meet, they can't come out so strongly about it. But the content of what they've talked about is all emanating from the threat which China has posed. And also, you should go by what the China has commented on the whole thing.
Right.
They also said that you know, they were critical to say that days are gone when the global decisions are taken by a small group of nations. That time is gone. So they were trying to actually convey that they are observant about it. They know that it is directed towards China.
Right. So we all know that Chinese companies mostly are state-owned or military-owned, rather, PLA-owned. So it's a kind of spreading of tentacles through the infrastructure projects. 100 countries have signed up for that project. So is it now that the Western world is waking up too late? What do you say?
Yeah, I think you are right. It is a bit too late because BRI was started by Xi Jinping's initiative almost 8-10 years ago. And as you rightly said, it is both public sector as well as military-owned companies. In the case of B3W, the new proposal, it would be primarily with private sector. But I think by itself should not be a handicap or a drawback because private sector is always seen to be far more competent and efficient, and there is already sufficient coverage of private sector of the G7 countries throughout the world. The problem there is whether B3W will have that kind of a consistent leadership available, just as BRI has with Xi Jinping and the other Chinese leaders. Moreover, even within G7, there is perhaps not such fulsome support to this idea. Because as you know, some of the countries of G7 have also voted in favor of the BRI. For example, Italy last year joined.
But
BRI.
I think Italian Prime Minister now says that they will be reassessing it.
Maybe, that may
Yeah.
be. But the fact is, within G7, all countries are not so sharply, divided on the issue of China. Germany takes a different view.
Right.
When the criticism about China becomes very strident by the US or in G7, they say that there are many areas, many issues, particularly economic issues, in which, to have any global order, you will have to have participation of China, particularly, say, climate change.
Right.
So, whether G7 leadership of the US will be able to push this whole thing, first of all, they will have to articulate this whole concept. They will have to do a lot of canvassing for it.
Right.
It takes time. The Chinese have already been doing it, for last so many years now. But it is doable. It's not that it can't be done. Because the way the Chinese are pushing their own political, ideas, their ambitions through BRI, be it in Africa or Central or Southeast Asia or Latin America, there is already considerable opposition to BRI. And therefore, I think in a way it's a good timing that an alternative is being now made available through this B3W idea.
Right.
So, I think we should in a way welcome it, but how it will progress, I think we'll have to see.
How it will
Maybe
progress
we
and
can
when it will articulate, I will translate into action is, to be watched out. As you mentioned that you have to have consensus among countries, and BRI already taken lead. 100 countries have already signed up. So,
Already there,
yeah. So, General Gurmeet Singh, I come to you. As I mentioned about this BRI, all projects we know, Chinese projects are, they are under the garb of something else, but they are all military centric or military driven. So it's a BRI I see as a project which is, spreading the tentacles military wise and economic wise to all these 100 countries across the globe. So, how will G7 countries match up? I'm asking that question to myself also. Yeah.
Ajay, to be very honest, BRI is a big challenge for the world. It is $3 trillion project, 68 countries, started in 2013. But unfortunately, what has happened is that BRI is also, like I said, it is coupled with a very typical intention from the Chinese. It comes along with a package of a debt trap, economic colonization, coercion, and expansion.
But I can tell you,
that is where the problem is.
but General Gurmeet Singh, countries like Sri Lanka are ready to fall in that trap, or Pakistan maybe, or so there are several countries who want to fall in that trap because they think there will be infrastructure development.
No, I don't agree with you that they are ready to fall into the trap. It's unfortunate that they have fallen into the trap. They have been trapped by the China, by the mechanization, by the very force of the economy transformation which they had since 1978. But Ajay, look, what is the more important is that the G7 and the world has realized one thing, that we got to find an alternative to this. So they got together, they said, we will pool in 40 plus trillion dollars, and they will go in for an alternative options for the developing countries for bringing up infrastructure in their country. Actually, there is a requirement of a rail network, roads, etc. in all the countries. That's what the China was trying to exploit. Actually, if you look at very critically at the China, they started off their modernization in 1978. They started from there. And infrastructure development, road was one of the main priorities. After having developed it within the countries, they have infrastructure, they have the manpower trained, they have the entire packages. So they wanted to use it for the Silk Route, maritime and the land. But what they're wanting to take apart from this is not acceptable. And that's where the world has got to get together and give an alternative to that. I think realizing that the China is already up into a very ill-intended domination through the BRI, that is what is important. In fact, I would say that, see, whenever such meetings happen, you got to read more between the lines. The diplomatic niceness and the diplomatic expression, they don't give you a clear picture. So, behind the curtain, you would also recall in this meeting, they wanted the internet or the IT coverage of this meeting also to be controlled, because everyone who is attending has got a different method of dealing with it. Like Germany may have a different method of dealing with it.
So that is
But
what you are.
one thing is,
So there are divisions within G7 also. That's what you are also saying.
see, divisions are very normal thing because everybody has got a different.
No,
strategy.
what I'm trying to say is when there are divisions, implementing a huge project like this infrastructure project across the world becomes a difficulty, as challenge. That's what I'm. So we had to conclude, Ambassador Devre. I come to you about challenges. Converting these into actions. Now I'll mention one program was the TAPI project, which was said to be an alternative to IPI, and it was pushed by USA. I don't see where it is now. That was hanging fire for so long. It's nowhere still.
TAPI was a very ambitious project.
Yeah.
Of course, a grand project, bringing gas from Turkmenistan all the way through Afghanistan and Pakistan into India. But as you know, it is beset with so many major obstacles. The political or geopolitical situation in that part of the world, problem of Taliban and so on. So it has not really taken off.
Right.
So we have,
So-
I think, these practical problems, and even the commitment of, for example, on climate change, which the developed or the rich countries have taken to provide $100 billion of finance for climate change annually, and they have not been able to fulfill it.
Right. So these are these are the difficulties in
We were
building
reminded of
consensus. Yeah.
this even yesterday at the G7 summit, and they say yes, we'll try to do it. 2 countries among the 7 countries spoke, largely in favor of that. So getting the finance for even a project like B3W may not all that be easy.
Yeah. That's what I. Yeah.
You will
That is.
have to-
Yeah. That is what I
you
wanted to
have
flag.
to
Yeah.
have, of course, clear incentives for that, and some leading private sector companies from the US or European countries, Japan will have to come forward. As I said, this is a very attractive project, no doubt, because it presents an alternative. How to put it together, how to forge it into a reality, that will be a major challenge.
Right. That's what I was saying. Yeah. So we had to conclude.
Whether the
Yeah.
leadership of President Biden and some of the European leaders. President the Chancellor Merkel is leaving in a few months' time. You will have new leadership in Germany. In Europe also, leadership changes taken place.
Yeah. Ambassador Devre, we had to conclude.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, and we also discussed that it is going to be a huge challenge. It's very ambitious and very welcome move, but there are going to be challenges in this. But the time of this program today is over. Thank you both of you for participating. This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important and interesting topic the same time tomorrow. Till then, take care and stay safe.